Greetings and welcome to another Better Communications Results. Again, it's a CarCast. Alrighty, today I want to wax lyrical about crisis communication. Now, the ash that's falling all over Northern Europe, Europe in general, is causing a great amount of consternation around the world, as we know. But it's not just stranded business people and stranded tourists that are being affected by that and their families back home. But it's also producers, people, for instance, in Africa who are exporting foodstuffs, whose now their livelihoods, they're facing ruination because all of their produce is sitting just rotting on warehouse floors because they're not able to be shipped out and shipped into Europe, where the market would normally be for them. So it's not just people who are stuck in airports trying to get home, or stuck in airports trying to get out. It's also primary producers. And what struck me about that in the whole sort of ashes and the volcano is how communication and crisis communication can be so different. And there's one particular, two particular companies that I want to have a look at and discuss with you. One of them is KLM. Now, KLM, Dutch airline, has done particularly well with their social media output and have been recognised broadly within the social media community as having done it correctly, done it right. They've kept up a constant stream of information via Twitter. Their Facebook page has had a constant stream of information put to it, answering questions like, and putting up forum discussion, posts like, what do we do about refunds? What do we do about finding accommodation? What alternatives are there? And questions and answers like these. Fantastic wealth of information, and really well done to them. Compare and contrast that to Air France. Now, Air France and KLM are both owned by the same company, same holding company. But Air France, their website hasn't been updated in a long time. Their Twitter stream is silent, and their Facebook pages similarly haven't been updated in a long time. It seems as if they don't want to give any information out. They're giving a Gallic shrug to the populace that are struck and stranded with Air France tickets and can't go anywhere. Now, it seems to me that because there are so many people out there who can communicate these days in the social media space, they can bypass you. They can not just talk behind your back anymore, but they can talk openly in front of you about how poor your customer service is or how poor your service in general is. And it strikes me that if your crisis communication is poor, then how does that reflect on you, or not, you as a communicator for one thing, but how does it reflect on your organization, your company, your employer, perhaps you if you're the owner of that company? How does that reflect on the confidence that people might have in your company to be able to, for you to be able to manage their concerns, deliver on your promises, and keep them satisfied? If you can't manage something as simple as communicating with them in this day and age with all the tools and resources available to you, then what are you doing in this social media, or what are you doing being a communicator at all? Is it that your organization, you're a communicator and your organization is entrenched in old world thinking? Well, then what are you doing to rattle the cages? What are you doing to push the boundaries? And don't just fall back and say, oh, well, I've been trying to, but there's roadblocks, the executive management team won't go for it, blah, blah, blah. You've got to be pushing. It's your responsibility as a communicator, because at the end of the day, if the company, a crisis happens, and crises will happen, there is no doubt about it. If a crisis happens, it's going to be your neck that falls if people are starting to complain the company never communicated to us. And the executive management team will go to you and say, well, why didn't you communicate? And you'll say, well, I couldn't get the message out there because you didn't let me. And they're going to go, you great big sook, do it anyway. And that's your job on the line. So my thought to you, my question to you is this. In a crisis, how are you going to communicate? Because crises will happen, let's face it. So in a crisis, what's your crisis plan? Do you have one? Are you ready to harness the communication channels that are already out there and that are proving exceptionally brilliant at conveying information in real time and addressing people's real-time concerns? Because if you're not prepared to use these tools, if you're not across them and understand them and know how to use them, then maybe your days as a business communicator are numbered. And with that cheery thought, I'll return you back to your normal everyday tasks that you do. And I'll remain your humble correspondent here in his little car driving from client to client. But I tell you what, in between now and the next time that we see each other, try and take a business communication risk. Do something that you wouldn't normally do, because you never know in this topsy-turvy world what's going to work for you. And it may well be that something risky turns out to be a major success for you. And always remember, always remember to communicate with passion. Okay, till next time. Bye.